Hi, Matt Lindsay here. So today we're going to talk about topical authority as a concept and then how we can potentially incorporate this into websites. Frankly, leveraging the power of AI, how we can basically utilize topical authority and generate vast amounts of content extremely quickly. Now you might notice that in the bottom right hand corner of this screen I've got this little process running down here, which is a piece of software called Zimmwriter. And basically what this is doing is actually building a topical authority CSV file, which we'll look at in a moment. And so first and foremost, what we're going to do is discuss the principle of topical authority. I'm going to ask Chat GPT, the fountain of all knowledge, how topical authority works. And then we're going to go through a couple of ways that we can actually do this using AI. And what I would say is that AI isn't perfect. And so when we're generating what we believe to be topical authority, we don't want to just take ChatGPT's answer for this, because sometimes there might be key topics that it missed, or alternatively, there could be other more niche context that the AI may not understand. For example, one of the things that I'm working on is a website for fire doors in the UK, and quite often it will pull through legislation that's from the US. So obviously what we want the topical authority to do is actually be focused on UK legislation in relation to fire doors. So just to give you some context there. So let's look at ChatGPT's answer. Topical authority is a concept in the field of search engine optimization and content marketing that refers to a website or author's expertise and credibility on a specific subject matter. The idea is that a website or content creator that consistently publishes thorough, accurate, and insightful content on a particular topic will be recognized by search engines and users as an authority in that field. This recognition often translates into higher search engine rankings and increased trust from users. And here's a detailed overview. So effectively what we look at is definition and importance. So being an expert in a specific area or topic. So search engines like Google aim to provide users with the most relevant and reliable information. Websites recognized as having topical authority are more likely to rank higher in search engine results pages, as they are seen as more trustworthy and informative on the particular subject. So there's two elements that you've got here. So you've got the on-site side of things, but then secondly, we've got the off-site as well. So regularly publishing content on a specific topic, covering not just the basics, but also delving into advanced aspects of a topic is seen to be important. Focusing on the quality and accuracy of the information, strategically using keywords without overstuffing, and encouraging user interaction such as comments, shares, and backlinks. Now that's really important. So what we want to be doing from a topical authority perspective is demonstrating that user interaction, basically demonstrating that we've got topical authority by having other authoritative sites in the relevant topic linking to us. So we look at on-page optimization, building backlinks from other reputable sites in the same domain, which acts as a vote of confidence. This for me is really important. But first, what we've got to do is go and create content that is basically on-site. So this particular demonstration that we're going to go through today is looking at mainly on-site, but then in the future we will do a video as well on off-site topical authority. So algorithmic evaluations, crawl and index, blah blah blah. Anyway, that basically gives you the high level overview of it. And the way that it fundamentally works is Google has what's called the knowledge graph. And basically the knowledge graph basically is all of the associated entities and keywords that Google expects a particular website to talk about a particular topic. So therefore, for example, if you were talking about I don't know, construction. You might talk about flooring, you might talk about plastering, you might talk about roofing, you might talk about windows, you might talk about doors, etc., etc. So the idea being that you cover all of the appropriately relevant topics to that it would be expected for you to cover in your segment and field. So how do we go and build topical authority? So what I'm going to do is basically, very simply, if you've got ChatGPT Plus, I'm going to give you two different ways of doing this. Both involve a small amount of cost. So ChatGPT Plus is $20 a month. And what we do is go into Explore GPTs, and then we're going to type Topical Authority. Now, this one from Income Stream Surfers I found to be very good. So what we're then going to do, continuing the theme of yesterday's video, which is about our niche, is so we want residential solar panels in the UK. Okay, that's all the information that we need to provide. And then in theory, what should happen is this now is going to build a topical authority map for a hypothetical website focusing on this. So introduction to solar panels, solar panel types and technologies, cost and financing options, installation process, planning and legal requirements, incentives and government schemes, solar panel efficiency, maintenance and care. So these will become what we call the kind of pillar pages. So effectively what we'll do is we'll create this page and it'll give it description, and then this will be the URL for that page. And then below this, what we're going to then create is, I don't know how many numbers, basically it will then go and create a load of further pages that we basically create, interlink together, that all then link up to this page. And basically by doing it, we're covering all of the elements of the introduction to solar panels section, and then we look at solar panel types and solar panel technologies. So now what we're then going to do is going to basically move on to now create sub pillar pages for each category, and include the title and description and URL handle. So basically what this enables us to do is programmatically build out the process that we're going to go through. So introduction to solar panels. So now we're going to have a page that is benefits. I'm going to stop this because I don't want it to include numbers. So remove the number from the title. Please start again. Okay, so basically I just, because what I'm going to do is I create a Google Sheet for each topic that basically incorporates all of these elements. And then what we can do is basically build all the URLs so that as we create the content, then we can create the interlinking that's required for this. And then we can get those, basically the internal linking, which is an issue for most small businesses, but we can do that really easily with a kind of programmatic approach. So that's running, and you can see basically we just go through. This is topic number 1, then we go to topic number 2, so on and so forth, and we just continue this process. So what I'll do is at the end I will show a snapshot of all of the articles that it is completed. So we're going to go category 2. Okay, so that's now going to continue, same approach. Perfect. So this is going to look at the different types of solar panels, and there we go. So monocrystalline, and you can get into quite technical elements, which clearly I don't know much about monocrystalline versus polycrystalline solar panels. But this is the depth of content that Google would expect an inverted commas expert in a particular field to be talking about. So you can see the process that we go through. So basically what we then, we will end up with is basically an authority map. And then what we've got to go and do is create all of the content that we need for all of these topics, and then basically get that uploaded. And basically we do that over a period of time, but what we want is internal links between each of these articles for these particular topics. So there's 20 for each one. And basically what we want to be talking about is bifacial solar panels in this article, but we want to reference monocrystalline versus polycrystalline panels as well, so that they're all interlinked. And then that obviously gives us a nice approach to work through. So that's one way of doing it. And I'll continue with, what was that? That was topic number 2. Okay, so that's number 2. So basically, as you can see, we'll just continue. So I think we had 20 in the first instance. So just go up to the top. Yeah, there's 20 different topics. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to build 20 pages about 20 topics. So that will give us 400 articles, right? Which is, pretty comprehensive. We're going to do pricing guide. We're going to talk about financing, solar panel ROI, etc., etc. So this is all very relevant to the UK as well, and that's why it's important. Often, if you're doing something that is technical, this is why it's important to include this in here, because otherwise it may not consider it. Also, what you can do is, if you've got highly specific and technical areas, you can basically give it the information. So for example, I do some work with a pension company, and with that we've created a means of training GPTs based upon specific pensions legislation. So rather than ChatGPT going away and making things up, we basically structure it in this way. Anyway, you get the idea of that. So that's one way of doing it. The second way of doing things is using Zimmwriter. So basically, this is a service that originally you could buy on a lifetime deal, which I picked up about a year ago actually. It's a great tool, lots of different features, but today we're going to look at the Topical Authority generator. So what you basically would do is we would use the same keyword. I think it's on a monthly about 15 bucks, but it is an amazing tool. So what we would say, that didn't work. Copy that. So residential solar panels, so we would say we want, same thing, 20 topics, and we want 20 for each. Oh, no, that's not right. So 800 total. We don't want 20 topical clusters. Basically what this does, it does long tails as well. So I think what we do is 10, and then we'll do 5. In fact, maybe we'll do 10. Because what we want is more blog titles. 10, and then we'll do 10. There we go. Right. So then what it's going to go away and do, so you basically can choose the different model that you want. I'm going to use GPT-4, which is the current model, and then what we're going to go and do is it's going to go away and generate the clusters. So when it's running, it sits in the background, as you can see here. So basically, we will be generating the clusters. We've now got the financial elements continued. Right, so this is what it's then going to go and do, is talk about solar panel installation regulations in the UK government incentives, cost and financing, blah, blah, blah. So actually it's come up with pretty similar topics in terms of the two things. It's not that surprising because it has all come from ChatGPT ultimately. So what we end up with from the takeaway from this is the output. So we end up with broad concept, types of solar panels, long tail keywords, created posts, so basically the type of content that it's doing, and then we've got the titles, so top solar panels for residential energy efficiency, etc., etc. So the topic that I selected when I did it was slightly different, but the concept remains the same. And then what you can do, the beautiful thing about this is basically we can end up in the situation where it merges all these things together, and effectively what you can do is copy and paste This is still running, so it will just take a minute. But basically, we can copy and paste lots of these at the same time, and then it will auto upload and then generate the articles en masse in Zimmwriter's bulk writer. So basically what we could potentially do is fulfill our topical authority requirements in not much time at all. And it can actually, you can set it up so it will auto upload to 10 different WordPress websites. One of the things that it doesn't do at the moment is basically basically interlink the articles. However, there are some tools that you can use to do that, which is one of which would be Link Whisperer, and then there are a number of others as well. Anyway, hopefully that's a useful insight into topical authority, how it works, some ways of generating a topical authority map, and then basically fulfilling the requirements. Right, so just setting off from where I left off last time. So basically I've continued with the process with the topical authority generator in Chat GPT, which is from Income Stream Surfers. And then basically what I'm doing is getting it to go away and generate all of the 20 articles for each of the topics, and then what I'm doing is I'm copying and pasting those into a spreadsheet, and basically I'm building the architecture for the website. So what that looks like is the first, the pillar pages is introduction to solar panels, and basically what we'll get ChatGPT to go away and do is basically write us a long form article that covers these 20 sections. So basically we'll make that article kind of like a summary, and it'll have 20 headers in it, and the 20 headers will be all of these or variations of these. And then what we want to feed ChatGPT with is the ability to then basically go away and write each of these articles, but incorporating the internal links so that each time we write one of them, then there's internal links, which obviously helps us from the moving forwards with that. So what we do is basically I always put the domain up here, and then I grab the topic which the subcategories are built from. So this is introduction to solar panels, description of the page is here, the URL handles there. So I'm basically taking that URL. We could also write it just here. Let's include that just so it's clear for everyone. And then basically what we do is I use a concat, which is a formula in Sheets. So equal concat, and then basically what I'm doing is I'm equaling that and then this one. And what that does is it connects the two things together. So basically we're building our URL structure. And then what we do is we've obviously copy and pasted these from ChatGPT in a list, and it's given us a URL handle. And then what we do is we do equal concat, except this time we want this one to remain the same each time and not change. So we've got to put $signs before the G and $sign before the 1, and then therefore what it will do is for each of these it will pull it through, but at the same time we want this one to change. So we want benefits of solar, we want history of solar, etc., etc. So now we've got our architecture so that we can basically go and incorporate all of these into a series of articles and basically include them as internal links. And that's really important to basically building a strongly ranking and relevant site. Now, the other way of doing it, which we talked about before, was using Zimmwriter, and we could potentially do this after the effect with Zimmwriter. So what I'm going to try is do both, and maybe on different websites. But for this one, Zimmwriter is definitely quicker because I can give it 200 articles at a time and it will write them all. But then we need some kind of linking structure, some kind of internal linking. Whereas this route will basically include the internal links, but generating the articles takes slightly longer. So that's what we've got to think about. And I'm going to continue on with this process. As you can see, I've got these here. So I'm just going to do the, which one's this? So cost financing options. So just to show you exactly how this works, we do concat, and then we're going to do that cell, but then we need to edit it. So we do 45, and then we do that, comma, and there we go. And then we can ask it to autofill the remainder of those. So there's another batch done. So effectively we end up with categorizations, so cost financing options, cost financing solar options in all of these articles. And then the intention would be that we'd link all of these articles together so they've got nice internal linking structure, all linking up to our page, which would be the slug for the page will be this. So it'll be biotech. In fact, it'll be this. That will be the page. Obviously, that doesn't exist at the moment, but basically what this gives us is the structure to build out the site with. And I think that this is an approach which is pretty robust. Obviously, we can add in various elements to the content, and we'll talk about content on another day, but I think that gives you a nice insight into the different ways that you can build a topical authority map, and then the structure to go and basically build that out. Hopefully that was worthwhile and interesting. Look forward to any thoughts and feedback that you might have in terms of a topical authority maps, and how you can potentially implement this and speed this process up as well, because we're all, technology is evolving very quickly. We're all learning in different ways of doing things. So I'm always looking at different ways to generate the content quickly, but make sure that the content's high quality. But finally, it's got these internal links as well, because without which these pages probably won't rank. But by building this, if we can get 400 articles uploaded and generated very quickly, and include internal linking in those, then we've got a good chance of basically demonstrating to Google that we do have topical authority. When we generate the content as well, we'll go into the process that I go through in terms of incorporating semantic triple syntax, and also incorporating entities in it, as well as keywords as well. So we can look at some of the different ways of doing that. So I include tools like Zimmwriter. I use Chat GPT in that process as well. Income Stream Surfers has a content generation process that I use fairly frequently. But then, looking at other means of evaluating that content. So I've got access to Page Optimizer Pro, so we could potentially look at how that views the content that we're generating. And sometimes the content isn't in depth enough, so we need to give it more detailed triggers to kind of cover topics off. So it's kind of finding the quick and efficient way of getting the content filled out as quickly as possible. But we'll go on to that in a later video once we start that kind of content production side of things. But anyway, hopefully this is a useful kind of second day in terms of my thought process of going through topical authority. And if you could comment topical authority on this video, that would really help from an algorithmic perspective as well. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed it. See you soon. Cheers.